guys, so I am here with my July Plan With Me video. I think I am actually going to do basically a time lapse. I'll walk you through a little bit of my pre-setup and then I'll go ahead and do a time lapse to draw everything, and then I'll come back and explain just because it's a little bit easier for me to edit and I'm going to be super busy next week, so I want to try and kind of cut down the process. But let's get started with my Plan With Me. So first, I thought I would show you a quick look at my pre-planning. I actually had done this quick spread, and you'll notice that I've crossed some things out because I actually want to try and do July in Spanish, and I had originally thought I would do it in French, but I changed my mind, decided I wanted to do it in Spanish. So I started writing out some of my ideas for everything. You'll see I was testing colors down here at this corner, and I actually forgot that I had written this here, and while I was away this past week I did another little setup in my Sidekick, and this is when I fully decided that I wanted to do this particular spread in Spanish. So you'll see that not a lot is changing, so let's go ahead and open up. So first up, let's take a look at June. So June, I had done the quote and I just had a pretty simple intro page. Got my calendar, which you'll notice that I really don't color code on my calendars, and that is partially because I color code for work in my traveler's notebook, the big A5 that I use for work. I color code in my Calendex. So it's one of those things that I just kind of have it at a glance, but I don't really worry about color coding in here anymore. I have my gratitude, which you'll see I have a little bit of space left, and I've got about, what's that, 5 or 6 days that I need to fit on here. So I think it'll be just, but I think it'll make it. I have my snippets, which I'm filming this on the 24th. So you'll see that I've still got about 6 days left on here. Reading. So this, I actually did read, I read a series, it was a manga series, and so I just did them a little bit smaller, so that's why this section looks kind of squished together. But basically going as usual, same thing with tracker, habits, and goals. So you can tell I've got a lot of blank space on my tracker here because I didn't do some things as much. YouTube, for example, I only post once or twice a week, so that one's always kind of like that. But I actually had planned to do another challenge this month and I ran out of time, so I have the lines, but I never actually filled it in. And I've got my habits. They actually look probably a little bit more filled in than they really are. I do little crosses in pencil, and at the end of the month I'm going to erase it, but that's just so that I don't lose my place and accidentally fill in a day that I didn't do the habit for. That's just to kind of keep me on track. And then my goals, I did not do very well on my goals this month. I bought a little bit of stationery, not much. I bought what did I buy? I think I bought a pad of A4 size craft paper to do junk journals. That was like the biggest purchase I did. But it was still stationery, so I couldn't count my goal as being met. And then I did spend more on groceries because I was traveling, so I had to kind of, I had a different setup than normal. Now, my weeklies. So this month I basically stuck with the 1 day or the 1 page weekly, and I get about 2 dailies per page, and you'll notice I switched. So at the end of, what month was that? May. At the end of May I was doing kind of simple headers, and I switched over to doing more of this cursive style. The style I actually got from Planning with Kay. Hers looks super pretty, so I decided to try that out. I have my Plan With Me challenge in here. This was also for the Plan With Me challenge. This was when I started watercoloring. So if you follow me on Instagram, you'll notice that I've started doing a lot of watercoloring in my bullet journal. So again, another 1 page weekly. And I do tend to keep to a similar color scheme throughout the week, just so that I can sort of visually group my weeks and dailies for one particular week together. So you'll notice again, purple, and I switched to watercoloring. Various things. So collection for this camp I'm working this coming week. My yellow week, was playing around even more with different watercoloring things. I needed to update my Happy Mail and email spreads, so I'm not even sure where it was back here. It's somewhere. Here we go. So I had Happy Mail emails, and then I had this YouTube spread, but I didn't update that. So I wanted it, this was on page 58, and I was up to page 110. So I wanted to update that, and I wanted to update the last brain dump that I had as well, so I just did those on a full spread. I had a blank page here, so I just did a quick little random calligraphy thing, just leaving white space. This is this week, so I actually did watercolor for this particular weekly. I really like how it turned out. Unfortunately, because I was traveling, I had to pre-set up my headers for Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, and I smudged a lot because I was writing over it, and it was kind of messy, so oops, oh well. So you can see I've got my little guys here, and I messed up. I meant to skip a page and I didn't, to do my weekly for this coming week. And so what I need to do after I film this at some point is I want to just write Sunday in watercolors up here, and I'm just going to have the weekend. But you'll notice that I actually didn't cross off things. I haven't migrated yet, so I'm just going to treat this as my active to-do list and just add a little Sunday header here so that I know that this was for both of those days. But oh well, it is what it is. So then I've got this week, I'm gonna do rows. So I'm working a camp. So I've basically got the schedule for the camp on here. I want to make the most use of the space. So I did a sideways header here so that I could just write up to the top line. So I've got next week, any prep that comes up for either my personal classes or that I need to work on for this, anything for home, which is basically going to be the weekend that I would get to that, and then any tasks. And I am actually leaving this entire section for tasks so that I have more space. So that was kind of how I envisioned this weekly. This is a play off of my normal vacation weekly where I just do the full week, but I leave a lot more space. And what I'm planning on doing is journaling on these pages. I don't know how much I'll get to, if I'll be too busy, but I'm leaving the space. So I left myself, I believe it was 3 full spreads, because I figured I wouldn't do a full page per day because it actually is quite a bit of space for me. And if I have extra space, then I'll, do a quote or I'll do a collection or whatever, but I figured that 3 full spreads, so 6 sheets, would be enough to get me through about 5 days of journaling and then a day or 2 of dailies for Saturday and Sunday, because that's usually what ends up happening is Saturday when I come back, I just have a massive to-do list of things that I need to try and get done because I was busy all week. So that's how that's going. So that basically takes me up to the end of June, and now we are getting into almost July. So I've actually penciled in what I planned on doing. So I want to set up a library and overdrive tracker because I always forget when things are due, and a friend of mine sent me a spread for this other girl on Instagram that's super awesome, and I think I actually I might film doing the setup of this, and I will credit the person that I was inspired by on that, but it's a blank page, so all good for now. This is actually going to be for my goals. So if you remember, let me so I'm doing a goal challenge. Whoops, here we go. 52 goals in 52 weeks. And what I did is I set this up in December/January of this year. And then what I did when I moved into this journal was I pulled some of the goals that I really wanted to work on to the front here, and so you can see I've been crossing off these goals. But you'll notice that 1, I've only got a couple left, and 2, I only planned for this to be for 4 months, and I actually think I'm going to get at least August in here potentially. I mean, this is up to June, and this is, what's that, page 127 up until 248. I think I can get about 2 more months in here. So I think I'll be able to get July and August. I don't know about September, but so what I was thinking of doing is actually doing an updated page, going through any of the goals that I've not yet done, and you'll notice I've actually whited out a couple and changed goals that as I've been progressing, I knew I wasn't going to do some of these things. So I've changed them for things that now that I've had some time to reflect, I would rather do those instead. So I want to sit through and make up a spread and pull out the next batch of goals to basically do for this summer. So I want to set up July through September. I don't think I'll get any further than September in this journal, so then that'll be okay. and set up that. And then now we get into July. So I am planning on doing a quote or something here. I am not sure if I'm gonna do it on camera because I'm kind of rushing to get this filmed and posted up for tomorrow. And I don't have a quote yet, to be perfectly honest. I just don't have one. My intro page for July, then my calendar, and I don't know if you can see, I've actually done some tick marks already so that I could do faster setup today. My gratitude, I'm actually going to keep this the same as last month. I really liked how that looked, and that was a nice little thing for me to do. I'm going to keep the snippets. However, I want to use it to practice journaling in Spanish. So I might write myself a little note up at the top. Reading, which is going to be basically set up the same. Tracker as well is going to be set up very similarly. And then I actually am going to have a planning spread for my trip to the US this summer because I'll be visiting family, and I've got some things that I need to get for people to bring, things I want to bring back with me that I can't find here, etc. So I'm going to dedicate a full spread for that plus a packing spread. I will not do that in this video, but that's going to be why that'll be kind of the end of my monthly setup, and then I'll move into the weekly, but I will probably not set that up quite yet because I don't know what kind of weekly I'm going to need for that. So let's get started. Oops. Oh, actually, before I get started, my colors for this month are, the main color is going to be this kind of goldenrod 985, and then if I have any accents, I want to do 062, and because I'm just kind of going all out on the yellow, I might also use, oops, if I can get them out of here, my, this is the yellow that I use for my color code, and it is 991. So I've got kind of this little range of yellow. So those are going to be my colors for this particular month. But as usual, I will be drawing things in probably either of these two Muji pens and or with my microns for black lines and that kind of stuff. So let's get started now. there's my setup. You will notice that I did not do the quote. As I had mentioned before, I'm not sure what I'm going to do, and I would like to look for a good quote for July. I want to find something in Spanish, so I'm going to leave that blank for the moment. I did do my header for July up a little bit higher. I want to put something down here, but I am not entirely sure what, so I'm going to leave it blank for the moment. Okay, so I decided to go ahead and do the quote, so I'll just figure out a place to put this in my plan with me for July. So this is the quote that I want to do, and I kind of did a quick little sketch out just to see how many lines I thought I would need. So about 6 lines, and I'm going to go ahead and basically give myself about as much, space as I think I might need. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lines. All right, so, and then I can do, there's actually no citation for this particular quote, so I might just do something else down there. And actually, no, you know what we're gonna do? I'm gonna skip. So we're gonna find out how this comes out because I am definitely rushing a little bit, but I wanted to have July all set up and nice, and I wanted to have it all done for the actual Plan With Me video. So we're gonna see if we can make it work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, that's a little bit more even. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna use these 2 colors so that I can do accent pieces in this color, and we're gonna try it. Like I said, we're kind of winging this one. So, oops. Get my paper so I don't smudge. And there we go. That actually came out better than I expected. So I did rework my lines a little bit here because I wanted to have this kind of parallel with the lighter yellow and darker yellow, so I just bumped down the and then I essentially did kind of a more straight up and down cursive for the lighter yellow, and then a sort of bouncy, loopier cursive for the darker yellow. And that is what it looks like all together. I actually quite like how it turned out. I still have no idea what I'm going to put down here, if anything, but I really like the look of this particular spread. And there you have it. So, quote done, and now July is completely done. My calendar is basically the same as always. Once again, I have not put in the mini calendar. I just have my tasks and for August in here, and I will fill out my calendar a little bit later. You can tell I did not let July dry quite enough before I did something and I got a little smudge, but oh well. I have my gratitude I wrote it in Spanish. So you'll notice some things I wrote in Spanish, some things I didn't on the next page. So this will be the same. It'll be lettered gratitude, any color, any style, whatever. Snippets, so I will continue to do my journaling, but I will do it in Spanish. And I actually think I'm going to use an orange Inkjoy gel pen for my numbers. I just have not pulled that out quite yet. I have my reading goals, so I did it in Spanish, but I didn't have quite enough space, so I just did a little dash there. And then I left this in English because the words in Spanish are quite a bit longer, so I wanted to keep that condensed. Then this one I basically just gave up and did it in English because it was just going to be easier that way. And I know mostly what I want to put in for my tracker, but I want to let the rest of the month go before I kind of decide on that. So I'm leaving this blank. I've just kind of set it up, and I do have room to do a couple more things to track if I want to. I also am condensing my habits to just 2. I basically combined 2 of them into one, and because usually if I do one, I do the other, so I might as well just do them both together, which gives me a little bit more room for my financial goals. I don't yet know what I'm going to do. Again, I want to wait until the end of June before I make that decision, so I'm going to leave that blank for the moment. So yeah, if you guys have any questions or comments, I will try to film some of the other sections as I set them up, because I know I was talking about some of the other pages that I wanted to set up in here. But like I mentioned, I am really busy next week, so I just wanted to kind of get this set up so I was ready for July. So if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them down below. If you like this video, consider giving it a thumbs up and or subscribing to my channel. I do try and post about once a week, sometimes more in the summer, depending on time and inspiration. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.